Do you know, I think today has been really hard. He said this evening when we were having a conversation after court, he said he was surprised it hadn't settled. And yeah, I think he has found it really hard. I think it is a hard process. The main thing it has done to me is make me very sure that I never want to get divorced. And if I do get divorced, I do not want to go through this process.
The childcare case has also reached a conclusion.
We've just had judgment on the final substantive day of the case, and the judge has made her findings about what happened on the day in question to the child, and the judge has found that the injury sustained by the child was the result of a very tragic accident at the hands of the father.
Notwithstanding a number of months when the father hasn't had any explanation for how this child got a skull fracture, he has today, just before we're about to give submissions, he's indicated that he wants to make a disclosure, basically. And he's disclosed that in the course of playing with the child slipped from his hands, fell to the floor, and that's how he got a skull fracture.
I think from the father's perspective, I think that he accidentally injured the child in a pretty terrible accident, and I think just speaking for myself, if you don't admit doing something wrong at the outset, it becomes harder and harder and harder to admit it. And I think he just got into a situation where it was just really difficult for him to tell, firstly, his family, and secondly, his lawyers, what had actually happened. So we arrived at a situation that for the past 8 months he's been carrying around this terrible, terrible secret, which today he finally felt able to tell me and my instructing solicitor, and then to tell the mother. It's a good result for the father, the judge finding that it was an accident, because it does increase the chances of the children being able to come home in due course.
After 12 applications for pupillage, Kat has at last been shortlisted for an interview.
I got called back for a second round interview. There was 2 pupillages and 15 people got called back. So my odds were, I had like a 1 in 7.5 chance of getting the pupillage, which is quite good actually. I came out and knew I hadn't got it, which is a shame. And I didn't get it, which you sort of expect the letter, you get the letter and go, I haven't got it, and you know it's really upsetting. Like, I was in tears, and I promised myself I wouldn't cry. I knew I wasn't going to get it, so it wasn't a surprise. But you just can't help it because, you know, you're so set on just wanting to start your career as a barrister. You have to stay determined. Like, I came into this wanting this career, almost from the offset with my eyes wide open. If you start thinking, oh, I'm never going to get a pupillage, well then no, you won't. If you think, I'm going to do it this year and next year, and if I don't get one, then I give up, well, then you don't deserve one. If you really wanted to do this, you wouldn't give up, and I won't give up. I'll just keep going.
You need a certain amount of determination probably to do this job. You know, barristers would say to me, oh, don't come into this, you know, there's no future in it and it's too hard, and go and be a solicitor. And I think, you know, you had to be able to completely ignore that. You had to want to do it enough that you were going to ignore everything that was said to you that was negative. And I would probably say the same to people now and expect that if they want to do the job enough, they'll ignore me and they'll be a great barrister.
Anna passed her resit, but her overall grade is just a competent.
So I finally have my results, and I got 77.5%, which is okay, considering it's caused me so much trouble. It means that that's practically the last exam I'm ever going to take, and that paying and working so many jobs to study for 4 years has finally paid off. That's what it means, because in a weird way, although I don't have pupillage, it does kind of make all of it worth it.
It's a weighty document. What do you think this is? St. Philip's. Woo! I'll open it. Think it's going to be an offer? Because normally, if it's a rejection, it's a one-page letter. This will be... Thank you for attending the interviews on Saturday. We were impressed by you and pleased to offer you a pupillage at St. Philip's Chambers for 12 months, beginning October 2008. Then it's just the terms, I think. It's arguably the best provincial set there is. It's a really good pupillage award. It's a mixed common law chambers, so they do a bit of crime, civil. They have a very, very strong civil practice. And they've offered me pupillage starting next year. And, you know, it's such a nice feeling to be offered pupillage. You know, it's such a relief. It's such a liberating feeling. I have to decide between two completely opposite pupillages. You know, the pupillages are completely at polar ends. One is in Birmingham, one is in London. One is at a very specialised chambers, one is at a general common law chambers. I really have to think about what I want to do.
In the end, Iqbal decided to stay in Birmingham and accepted the offer from St. Philip's.
I think the great thing about the bar is that, to a certain extent, your career is in your own hands. I mean, clearly there are a series of defined stages you have to go through. You've got to do your degree or your conversion course, the BVC, pupillage, and you strive to get tenancy. But if you are ambitious, there are opportunities to be had that will come your way with dedication and hard work. And I think that's one of the great things about the bar. It is one of those professions, I think, one of the last professions perhaps, where just plain hard work, wherever you come from, can get you where you want to go.
Next week, the search for pupillage continues and Anna gets some very good news.
Oh, that's excellent! That's really good! That's really good!
After 18 months in pupillage, Kokoli Pandey finds out whether she's got a permanent job.
It's a personal thing, you've given your all, and if that's not good enough, then it is going to hurt. I have prepared myself for that possibility, but I haven't prepared myself for hearing them say, "We don't want you in our chambers."
And at the Old Bailey, there's the first state prosecution of a murder.
I've got the most senior barristers against me. I've got the leader of the circuit and I've got the chairman of the criminal bar, 2 of the QCs against me.
The Open University has produced a free booklet featuring momentous legal cases which have changed the way we live. To get a copy, go to bbc.co.uk/barristers or phone 0870 900 0303.
On Newsnight, what will be the extent of the government's borrowing bombshell on Monday? Will Hillary Clinton really work in Team Obama? And we'll discuss Guns N' Roses' first album in 17 years. Join me at 10:30.
And that's after QI, next on BBC Two.